What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Dead on Dave, and welcome to the show that boldly goes where no other podcast has gone before. However, expect us to kick a few tribbles along the way. I am the Nerd Dave.
Hey, it's Tommy C. I'm the original jerk. New Jersey rules and liberals suck.
What? Tommy, there's something wrong with your voice.
Yeah, Dave, it's Jim.
Oh.
Hey, listen, so this is supposed to be Tommy's turn, but Tommy's off, getting married to a dude or something. I don't know what he's up to. So I thought I'd help pacify the message boards this week and pretend I'm Tommy. But listen,
that was a good impression. That was a good job.
Thanks.
You fooled me.
I thought I'd go full heel turn there. I'm dangerously close to not being considered retired from this broadcasting.
You are dangerously close, and that makes me happy. With every broadcast you do, it just, my excitement grows and grows.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I could fill in on short notice, but I have some terms, if you will.
Of course.
So it's a big week. There's obviously a lot we can talk about in this podcast. So
I got a whole show built. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I've decided I'm gonna take it over. So we're gonna switch it up. I'm gonna do a little jerk takeover of your show here.
Oh shit!
So I've been checking out your other shows, and I've listened back to our shows, and most of the time you're interviewing other people.
Yes.
So I think the audience, as well as the old jerk Jim here, Jim, would like to have a change of pace for once, and I'm going to interview you. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Oh crap!
And I'm just going to pepper you with some fucking questions today. What do you think about that?
I am terrified and intrigued.
Well, you should mostly be terrified.
I am, but you know what? I got to put the intrigued in there. Basically so I don't shrink and shrivel under the immense pressure that I am now on.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Jerkin the Nerd. That sounded bad. Jerkin the Nerd.
Jerkin the Nerd, yeah. Well, I have a feeling you might be jerking the nerd here. It'll be fun for all.
All right, Dave. Here we go. Clear it up once and for all. Are you a pedophile?
No. And this goes out to Jaren's sister. Your brother's butthole's still safe, at least from me. No, I am not, nor have I ever been.
Listen, I was checking out one of your live things. It was the one I actually forgot about, but wanted to call in live and talk about wrestling, which I know nothing about. So I probably would have just hijacked that as well.
Yeah.
So, about an hour in or 45 minutes in, some little dude's on the phone and he's like, my sister wants to know if you're a pedophile. I almost fell out of my chair and spit my beer on my computer. I'm like,
yeah.
What what was that?
It took me by surprise as well. I didn't really know what to do with that, so I did the only thing I could do. I said, get her ass on the phone.
Right. Way to confront it.
Hey, you got to get out in front of these things, man.
That's how rumors get started, right?
You can't let them linger.
All right, on to something more serious. So, landmark decision, obviously, yesterday. The internet's abuzz. My Facebook feed was very gay yesterday.
Yeah, it's rainbows everywhere.
Right. Yeah. So, how do you feel about the Supreme Court decision yesterday in general?
Well, while I am complete in agreement that everybody should have equal rights as far as who they marry and whatever, I am not exactly thrilled in which the way it went about. Now, most people don't really even understand the purpose of the Supreme Court. Not Supreme Court. I'm from the 40s. The Supreme Court, what they do. Now, most people don't even really understand the full functionality of the Supreme Court and what they're supposed to do. The main job of the Supreme Court is to basically interpret and weigh in on the Constitution. It's the highest form of court, and usually that's what they handle, matters of the Constitution. Well, basically what they said was, fuck the Constitution here, because they're going to interpret it the way that they want, and even though there's no language within the Constitution that comes anywhere near saying what they're saying it says, this is the situation that we have. And while it's completely correct and agreeable and the right thing to do, it sets a dangerous precedent, because basically now there's this power faction within the Supreme Court that ruled basically the same, in three separate big rulings the other day that one, nobody even paid attention to. It happened something regarding in Texas, some fair housing stuff, which is kind of a big deal as well. More wiping of the ass of the Constitution. But the fact that there is this 5-4 power now within the Supreme Court, it kind of negates the whole idea of checks and balances. Because now you have two factions of those checks basically taking everything out of balance. And that worries me.
So were we getting to a point where this was the only way it was going to happen? In other words, I understand the fear that we now have a third legislative body or, branch of government. And I get that. And it was pretty loose in my opinion, how they framed it around the wording of what the 14th Amendment is.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, due process and all that, same rights under law and all that. So I agree with you to a degree, but my concern was that if people aren't going to vote for whatever reason to allow civil liberties, at some point there has to be a body, and maybe that was Obama, and maybe that was, maybe that I don't know how else it happens. I guess is what I'm getting to is,
and that's understandable.
At a certain point, after a while, if people are having their rights violated and the states have no interest in doing anything about it, and it's clear those states probably didn't, not for a good long time.
Yeah.
At what point do you step in and then use your ability to finagle the language of the law of the land to say that you are violating existing law? Because a good portion of the country supports the idea that it should have been legal under the Constitution.
According to some polls, upwards of 2/3 of the country. So,
right.
Yeah. But I mean, what is the point of having any type of state voting process if, just because there are a faction of people saying, well, the reason why it's not passing is not enough people are voting. Well, I mean, what's the whole point of freaking voting?
Well, there's precedent that not everything is handled at the state level.
True.
There's lots of local and regional issues to vote and to allow the population to determine in that area. And I support many things being, state decided, including weed at this point.
Yes.
Because it's not a civil liberty. I don't feel that people are truly getting, their rights trampled on.
You don't believe you have an inherent right to get high?
No, I think it's fair at this point for the states to decide. I think the federal government should have more of a role to move this issue along. Mm-hmm. But I still put things like that in at the state level, and taxes, and fixing roads and rules and regulations and gambling and stuff like that to a certain degree.
But isn't it kind of funny that on the same day that we had one of the most important, and we became the 21st nation that allows nationwide gay marriage. It's kind of funny that on the same day that happens, where we're talking about all this important shit, where it is something that it's a basic human right to be able to do everything fairly. That's 100% agreeable, and nobody's going to argue with that. But on the same day, the exact same 5 outvote the 4, the minority of the Supreme Court, to use their power to kind of limit the ability of a 1968 fair housing reform in Texas, which has nothing. That they're going right after a state legislation instead of something that's national. So my argument here is, because they're setting a precedent of this Power 5, where is it going to stop? I mean, are they going to basically just, what I mean?
Yeah, but remember, even the same-sex marriage case, it all stems from a case where the Supreme Court is the ultimate appeal. So nothing says that an issue at the state level, if the Supreme Court takes the case deeming that it's a violation of the law of the land and Constitution, or their interpretation of the Constitution, because that's how it really works.
That's how it works.
It's up to the interpretation of 9 humans.
Yeah. Well, it's up to the interpretation of the majority, is what it turns out. It's
right. So I guess that's kind of the way it has to be. There's no perfect system out there. We're not totalitarianism. We don't have a king. I don't think. Sometimes I wonder.
No, I know, right?
Uh,
We might have
you
a
know,
czar. I mean, I'm
you
not
know,
sure.
so it's absolutely possible that state or local issues, the Supreme Court can determine when they're taking their cases that the country can benefit
Sure.
from a ruling or a review of that case, so they take the case. So I don't really have a problem that they're making a ruling based on a case that came from a local or state level, but
Yes.
it would have to be a ruling as an interpretation of the law at the federal level. They can't say Texas has to do something and other states don't. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, but it does become a concern for those who are kind of on the fringe of all of this, like just freaking out over it. Basically, bringing up the argument I just brought up, but have less knowledge about it. They're going to be very scared that this is going to happen in every single state on views and issues that are near and dear to them. Well, that's probably not true. That's probably not going to happen. But with things like marijuana and other very serious pressing issues that are all over the world, or all over our country, I should say the world, all over the country, you never know what's going to go up to the Supreme Court next. And if you
Right.
have these guys voting the same way on everything, it kind of just defeats the purpose in a sense. So it's a little worrying, but that's all
Yeah, I
nonsensical
mean, it should have
bullshit.
been worrying before now. There's clearly
Very
voting
true.
down party lines, and it continues to
Yeah.
concern me that our judges are still so politically leaning. Like, on what
Oh,
planet should Clarence Thomas be voting against this?
yeah.
Like, I like, how do you even like pretend in your summary, in your dissent, that makes any sense?
No, it's funny. You get appointed based on you get recommended for appointment based because you're going to represent a certain faction, a certain side, and then when you don't, you turn this into what we have now. That all being said, absolutely no question that this is the right move. There's no question in my mind that everybody deserves the exact same rights when it comes to marriage. You want to be miserable? Hell, welcome to the marriage club, motherfuckers. Enjoy your stay. I don't have
Yeah,
a
so
problem with that at all.
some of the dissenting opinions were based around it being a slippery slope, and I think
It,
one of the ones that we're coming up against is, should the government take away tax exempt status for religious institutions that
yes.
continue to discriminate against this? Now, what's your take on that?
This is the issue. This was the scariest of all issues because this essentially has done is we might not see it for a few years, but steadily we are facing an ensuing battle between church and state. And the government and the church are about to square off, and we don't even friggin' see it yet. But it's coming. Because how long before we have lawsuits by gay couples who are Catholic, are Christian, suing churches, suing whatever faith they are for the right to get married in their church? That's going to create a serious conflict. And based on how that ruling goes, that could lead to tax exempt statuses being non-existent for these for the religions. And if that happens, you say what you want about the Catholic Church, but millions upon millions of tax-free dollars go to building hospitals, homeless shelters, and many other different things. There's a lot of good services that the church does do. That
Yeah,
could be
so
all
but
wiped out based off of this. It is a slippery slope. I don't know if that's a
I,
good enough
I
excuse, but it is scary.
I agree with you to a point. I don't like tax exempt status. This is how we got into this problem with Scientology.
Very true. They're about to lose their
I,
tax exempt
it
status.
just like I never understood professional sports, why they would be tax exempt. It's bizarre to me. It's the Catholic Church is the largest landowner in the world.
Yes,
There's belt tightening that can absolutely happen within the church before they cut the programs that are part of their primary mission,
that's true.
and that's just a threat, and that's offensive. That's not Catholic. That's not Christian
Hmm.
to make such a threat. That there's a lot of things they can do differently before they would have to change those programs, or at least drastically change those programs. A lot of those programs are still funded by donations, and donations will still occur. Consolidate, sell off some of your land. They
Yeah.
hoard land like nobody's business. So my feeling is I don't think they should have tax exempt status in the first place. But remember my position all along was that I don't fault people for not liking or having issue with gay people or what they do, and that means you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't even fault people for being disappointed or having an issue with the decision to make it all legal across the land.
Sure.
But religion in its nature is exclusionary.
It is.
People congregate based on a very specific set of beliefs. That's why there's so many denominations or sects of major religions.
And historically, if you don't believe them, you are excluded. So it is very exclusionary. Absolutely.
It's by its nature. It's built that way. That's its foundation. That's how it all works. People congregate, come together, and they're of like-minded belief most often. There aren't a hell of a lot of debates in the philosophy if you're regularly going to a specific church of a specific faith and denomination. So to make a ruling or force or penalize these institutions for suddenly, I don't see it as a civil rights violation because you don't have to be part of that religion. I don't see it the same.
Yeah.
Because so if there was no other way to get married, I think we'd have a big debate and a big issue. But there's civil unions, and there's justice of the peace. So,
but you know as well as I do that people will fight for the principle and the point of things more often than not. It doesn't matter that there's a completely other way for them to get married. If people who are religious want to get married in that church, and the church says, and they're completely right to say, no, that's against what the church is. You're not even, that's their prerogative. I'm fully in support of that, by the way, if that's what they want to do. Say, hey, no, God says no, we're not marrying you here. That's their right to do that. I am worried that we're going to have lawsuit after lawsuit. Hell, if a woman who is out of business now because she didn't want to make a cake for a gay couple.
But you don't have, that went down how it probably should have.
I agree, but I mean the precedent's there.
Because that's the power of the free market finally being allowed to work. It's not that the government should have shut down a bakery; it's that the consumers should shut down the bakery.
Sure, but that's ostracizing a woman, though.
But that's the power of your decisions making. That's your right. You have freedom of speech, but not freedom from repercussions of what you say.
That's an important thing to remember. Now, the woman in question, this story is a few years old. I believe that happened way back in 2006. I can't remember exactly. Right. But I know it's happened a few other times with florists and stuff like that. There was no rudeness. There was no vile. It was just like, I'll recommend you to another florist or another baker. But just because of my beliefs, I do not want to cater this wedding. And, she deserved to lose her fucking business over that? That becomes a problem. So if they get sued, can the countersue happen? This is the reality of what's really going to happen. There's going to be a lot of court battles over the next 5 to 10 years.
But who's going to get sued for that?
That's a really good question. But who's ever not benefiting,
they should sue themselves for.
Who's ever not benefiting is going to go to court and try to take it to the Supreme Court, try to take it to higher levels of.
If you run a business, you have to have business savvy. You don't go offending your patrons. That's bad business. They should sue themselves. Like, why do you even care? Just make a fucking cake. Make a cake. It's a cake. You don't have to go to the wedding. You don't have to agree with the wedding. They just want a cake. Yeah, and that's completely understandable. But I don't see suing the church because it's not your right. It's your right to.
Oh no, they won't be suing the church here. Yeah, well,
not the cake people. I'm going back to.
Oh, okay.
Catholics that can't have their wedding in a church if it's a sex marriage, but it's not your right to get married in a church. It's your right to get married. So I don't see it. I don't see it as an infringement because they have alternatives. They might not love those alternatives, but that's tough noogies,
Well, but you know what's going to happen, and this is how things kind of go right now because of social media and because of the sweeping popular opinion. If we have a couple gay couples that want to get married and it's inside of a church and they're not able to, we're going to hear all kinds of things within the media. There's going to be all this movement because they win one battle. They're going to continue to try to win every battle that they can. And that's going to cause a lot of division, a lot of dissent, and possible violence, man. It worries me that taking things to extremes are going to cause a lot of serious issues within the country because we're all a bunch of fucking animals, man. Everybody has their assholes. We are.
Bunch of trolls. Yeah,
everybody feels like they're right, man. Everybody feels like they're right, and everybody's fucking entitled too. My God.
Right, but I mean, I guess that needs to happen. You know, women winning the right to vote was long overdue, and it caused issues. Desegregation and forced busing caused issues.
Very true.
You know, all of these things cost lives and major issues. And so those are the pains of, you know, advancing your society. And
Very true.
You know, while that may suck, it may be a necessary evil.
You're 100% right. Nothing in this world is easy. Is worth getting. Right. You know what I mean? The battle is definitely worth it in a lot of these cases. Every single example you just gave, every scar, every scratch, every black eye, everything was worth it because of what we get in the end.
Right. I think we probably look back on this point with pride, and then, you know, further back, like what took so long? Because each of these things we tend to say, what took so fucking long to evolve? Yeah, so some of the trolls out there feel this ruling opens the door for polygamy. You know, can you educate the masses why it doesn't?
Well, it's not going to. I mean, because what has been defined over and over and over, not only in church but also in many different legal precedent, is what marriage is. The institution of marriage is 1-to-1. That has never been in dispute. Polygamy, right. And besides, another thing, polygamy is still very much looked down upon. Same-sex marriage, gays being able to do what they want to do, is something that is in the popular. I don't think polygamy is ever going to get a popular enough sway to really affect any political decisions.
Yeah, again, because we're talking about rights of people.
Yeah.
You know, people that want to be polygamists already have rights. They already have the stated benefits of being allowed to marry another person.
Yes.
So it's not a fight when you talk about polygamy for rights.
There are places to go to live that lifestyle.
You have the right, and you also have the ability to get a divorce and marry someone else if that's the road you need to travel down. You know, so you have the right to happiness. You have your freedoms. You have your right to your civil liberties. You have the right to be on the death certificate. You have the right to benefits. All of those things exist for those people now. They're going to have a hard time fighting to say that I deserve more. It's my right to have more. That's not gonna. It's not really going to work.
No, but it'll be tried.
There's no damage. You and I know this damn well. Religious people will disagree with us. There's no damage to the ruling yesterday. There's really no downside to society.
No.
There's people that feel the downside is offense to God, but you know, don't offend God and you'll be taken care of, apparently, from what I read.
Yeah, you won't go to hell.
Let those other people worry about that. I haven't read anything that says God's going to torch you because two dudes married.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I don't remember.
I haven't seen that scripture.
I haven't come to that passage yet.
It must be in Bullshiticus.
It must be in Bullshiticus 3:27. You're all fucked.
Let me ask you this. Does Obama get to claim this on his legacy?
Should he? Probably not. Will he? Absolutely.
So if a president gets blamed for everything bad that goes on during his terms, I mean, he or she probably has the right to claim the good things that occurred while you were
completely fair. But I mean, the way I'm looking at it with this is he's done so many things at the whim of executive power, and this is another thing that you can consider a clear, in some people's eyes, clear ignoring of the Constitution. In a sense, it depending on what side of the argument you are when it comes to Obama, you could be championing this or saying or damning it. It's an interesting way to look. It's all perspective, I guess, when it comes down to it. Obama should get a lot of credit for some of the good things that have happened, but a lot of nothing that he's done has happened without a severe amount of controversy.
It's kind of any sweeping large thing kind of is always like that, right?
Very
I
true.
don't like Obama, but I think he had a good goddamn week.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question.
You know?
For his champions, for people who champion him and everything, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm interested to see his approval ratings the next time they come out.
I
I'm a little.
don't think it's going to tick up at all.
I think it's like 8 to 10% bump. I really do.
Really,
I do.
really.
I think he had a real interesting week.
He did, but in some people's eyes, it's kind of an offsetting thing too, because a lot of people were expecting a bigger fight over Obamacare. Some people were really shocked that it got upheld, and especially in the manner that it's 6-3 voting. Nobody was expecting that.
As always is the case, people are numbing to the Obamacare thing. Like people that were hesitant to support it and tout it as a major achievement are coming out of the woodwork now.
Yeah.
They're like, but the only thing that bothers me, I understand that people that couldn't get insured can now get insured. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't like how it's being paid for, how it's all going. I think there's so much waste in government that there's a way to divert funds and subsidize this fucking thing.
Well, you've had something similar for years. I mean, you're under Romney Care over there in Massachusetts, aren't you?
Yeah, I've always been insured by my employer, but I mean, it costs a fucking fortune. I was negatively impacted by the Obamacare stuff, and eventually I too cool off and get over it. The pre-existing condition stuff is pretty good. I think there were other things to try in a free market before this, like being able to shop across state lines and making health insurance competitively priced nationwide. Make them compete with pricing and deals and offerings instead of forcing people into the local markets.
Kind of the beauty of a free market in the first place, isn't it?
Right. So there were things, there was, tort reform and so much of the costs are malpractice insurance and cases. I think there were a lot of things to try first. At least somebody tried something. I'm not warming up to it, but I'm resigning that it's here and it's in play and it's becoming popular with some people. So I'm not always right. I might not be right about this whole thing, but I'm kind of resigned to it, So I'm curious what Obama's legacy is going to be. He stayed out of serious wars, sort of. I liked that. I feel like he should have been stronger with ISIS. I think.
Well, now with the news that they're basically camping outside of Texas. Yeah.
Right. That's a bad decision. Texas is in a bad mood. They're gonna fuck shit up.
Don't go to Texas. ISIS is gonna learn.
Texas ain't gonna play. Like if you want to go, you should go to Wisconsin.
Exactly. Set up your ISIS base in Wisconsin or a place where you're not gonna get fucked up. Texas,
like Vermont.
Ted Cruz is getting. Oh God, you know how happy Ted Cruz has got to be that ISIS is right there. If he's the guy that destroys, if he's leading the charge to destroy ISIS in his area. He's the fucking president.
You know what I mean, though? You don't line up in fucking Texas first.
No, it's definitely the wrong.
Newsflash to anyone planning to attack America: don't attack Texas first.
Yes,
they're gonna fuck you up.
Yes, any state with the motto is "Don't mess with," probably go somewhere else. Probably.
They're not happy.
No.
I could picture Texas trying to secede someday.
Oh, sure.
They're just fucking out there.
Yeah, they do what they want to do, And
I appreciate Texas. I like Texas a lot, but man, they're just getting jabbed in the nose constantly.
I like the idea of Texas. I don't want to live there. I love the idea of Texas.
Yeah, I don't want to live there either.
I don't want to go there. It's going to be really funny though for the next 30, basically the rest of our lives. Obama's presidency is going to be probably the most hotly debated presidency maybe ever.
I still think Bush.
I got to figure. Well, Bush is too marred in incompetency to even really have a debate. This is a different monster.
But the vast majority of debaters are incompetent, also.
Very good point, and I am in that category. I'm getting asked all these questions. I'm basically an idiot. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Is it offensive that Hillary Clinton plays it off like she led the charge for change when she stood by Bill in creating DOMA in the first place?
It's very political. is what it is. I don't know if it's offensive, but it certainly is political. This is what politicians do. This is what politicians do. They do it all the time, because she can always go behind the crutch of, well, that's what I stood behind my man then. Now I changed my mind. I'm older, wiser. I've been through things. So she can claim that, or she can just say, "Hey, we changed our minds. We're humans." It's political. It's very, very political. And she got in front. She's trying to run for president. What do you expect her to do?
Yeah, I watched a speech of hers when she was senator at the time, and she was touting the importance of protecting the sanctity of marriage. And she's like, "And I should know." And I'm like, I got goosebumps, like chills. I'm like, that's so creepy.
It is creepy, yeah.
Like I stood by my man. I understand what it's like to protect marriage at all costs. I'm like, oh,
That's believing your vows to an ignorant level almost. My God.
So I looked further. That Clinton presidency was pretty Republican. That was some pretty right wing shit they were doing.
Yeah, yeah. I think I know. In some senses, not in military sense, of course, but
Right. Well, they were wagging the dog. They would just send cruise missiles all over the world. It's like the precursor to drones were the cruise missiles.
it kind of was. I mean, something ridiculous like 40 to 60% of base. There's like a 46% base shut down throughout the United States. The lowest troop levels in since wartime or since before wartime. All those
Right.
things that happened during his administration. Yet it was the precursor to unmanned type of thing. It's an interesting president. That's another interesting presidency.
So I guess it all begs the question: Are politicians over vilified for changing their mind on issues? And I don't mean flip flopping. Nobody likes the flip flopping, but can't you change your mind? Can you be wrong in the 90s? Because I don't know. I think at one point early on, I was probably concerned that same-sex marriage, like I felt like it was egotistical of our generation to think we should be able to change an institution like marriage after thousands of years.
Sure.
So I think my position on the thing evolved, I'm proud to say. So why should politicians, I mean, she should probably come out ahead of it and say that she evolved, that she's evolving, and she realized that she was wrong, and she's thrilled for this. But I feel like she's been walking around like she led the charge. Same with Obama. Where was the rainbow lighting on the White House before now? Where were the flags? Where were the speeches? Like these presidents could have come out,
Sure.
even as candidates, and come a lot stronger. And I mean a lot stronger. I mean, Hillary didn't come out supporting same-sex marriage until after Biden did.
Yeah.
And then Obama didn't even ever really come out for it till recently. His response to Hillary stating she was for it was that his position is evolving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what a wishy-washy answer there. But
I think politicians are clearly look. I think politicians are over vilified for a lot of things, and this is definitely one of them. Because let's face it, humans do change their mind. Whether or not if it's for bad reasons or not, that's another debate altogether. I mean, a lot of politicians, at least from a lot of voters' eyes, are only changing their minds to get those votes. But it is very possible that as somebody grows, as somebody learns and sees things all around them, they do have a conscious change of heart, and that's completely fine. The problem is this goes with the territory. You're a politician. You're in the spotlight. You're going to be everything you do is going to be overanalyzed, over-vilified, over everything. That is the life you lead. So that's probably the toughest question you're gonna ask, because
no, probably not.
over anything in politics is so hard to say yes or no on.
I just wish we could get to the point where it would be acceptable for our politicians to be leaders and statesmen, and leaders can admit, or should be able to admit, that they were wrong, they're changing course, and they're proud of their evolution, but they can't do that, and that's part of the problem.
Comes back down to the voters.
They can't speak. They can't speak as a human. They can't cherry pick the issues and come out as a true great leader anymore. It's just it's unfortunate, really. So
really unfortunate.
Switching gears a little bit, what's your take on the Confederate flag situation this week, in the past week?
Yet another mass hysteria to something that has been overblown as far as what it means, and that's the important factor here. Is the meaning of these things that get overblown. This is insane. That because now look, there's no question that this guy is a horrible human being for killing 9 people. But because he held a flag in a picture does not mean that there needs to be this sweeping reform as far as the flag can never be seen again. Now, if you want to approach me with the argument that this is a rebel flag from a failed rebellion against the nation and therefore it should be gone, I can get on board with that. I can get behind that.
That wasn't their flag, though.
No, it wasn't. You're right. In fact, that was the battle flag. They had 3 different flags that they used.
Right.
Most people don't know.
Right. So I guess the question here is, I think there is a gross misunderstanding of what the flag stands for. But can we agree that at public government buildings, perhaps we should only be flying state flags and federal flags?
I think that's more than fair.
Wouldn't that help?
Yeah, I think that would be a good mandate to have, especially when it is not the South's fault that the Confederate flag has been taken hostage almost in a sense.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, the Dukes of Hazzard weren't overtly racist.
No.
It
Get in
really
the call, boy. I don't think I ever saw that episode.
One of the people involved with the show actually pointed out that it stands for, Southern comfort and charm, the Southern Cross, charm, family, having good times, stuff like that, So, the KKK marched on Washington. They weren't flying that flag. They were flying the American flag.
Yes, they were.
Just so everybody knows. So should you ban the American flag? Some people would say yes.
Well,
but
a lot of people are
that's
coming.
Absurd.
That's coming next. It looks like, Jesus, it's already starting.
So to your point that, they probably shouldn't be blamed, people kill in the name of and use the symbol of the Bible.
Yes.
During the Crusades and even today.
Yes.
People kill in the name of the Quran, and should those things be banned?
Yeah. In fact, a lot of times they're championing even more because of the violence that is led in the name of these religions, in the name of these deities. More people are brought to their cause, just like it would be with this flag. I mean, it's crazy to think that this many people can be so easily manipulated, but that's just kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, it's almost dangerously close. I have no desire to have this flag, by the way.
No.
But I don't. For government buildings, take it down.
I believe this morning a lady in South Carolina climbed a 40-foot pole to get a flag. She did. I'm not even making this up. Climbed a 40-foot pole to get the flag down. She tore the flag down and then got stuck on the flagpole. I swear to God.
She hit herself instead.
She got caught up there somehow. I have no idea why you can't slide down a pole. You got up there. Fuck, come down. But fucking firemen had to come down and get her. It's crazy.
Yeah, these overreactions, ban guns, ban flags, ban anything that shows up in the shitbags Instagram. It's dangerously close to book burning. I mean, you're taking things off the market that I just don't get. Amazon and Walmart removed Confederate flag stuff.
Yeah, the General Lee has been redesigned in toy form. They took the flag off.
I could go and buy Hitler's books.
Yes, you can.
I can buy pictures of Hitler.
Mein Kampf still available.
I can buy Helter Skelter.
Yes.
I can buy all of these things that glorify some horrible shit. I'm so tired of the overreactions. Let people buy what they want to buy.
Why is fighting extremism with extremism a good thing? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I can't get it. I can't wrap my mind around it.
So speaking of all this racist stuff, I noticed you haven't had Barack Obama on any of your creators' corner yet. But,
Not yet. I've put some feelers out there, but
Mark Maron did, and they had the WTF podcast. They had a fantastic interview about a week ago.
Yeah.
And it was a very human side of Obama. It was refreshing where I like the idea that Obama went on a podcast. Some people don't. But most of the controversy coming out of this is Obama used the N-word.
Before you hit there, it's not surprising he did a podcast. Every year he's on ESPN doing his NCAA friggin' bracketology,
Yeah,
bracketology.
He should stop doing that because he looks ridiculous.
He always looks ridiculous with that. I have more of a problem with that than I do him going on a podcast, but that's just me. Like,
yeah, I mean, this guy is overly in touch with pop culture oftentimes, but I thought this was an interesting take. He went to Mark Maron's garage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, granted they had tents and Kevlar and all the whole 9 yards, but it's really interesting to me and good for Mark Maron. People play it off that Obama's a fan of the show. I think one of his aides was and suggested it because he was
Obama never listened to an episode of Mark Maron.
Right. He was probably looking to recreate the buzz from Between Two Ferns. So it was planned before the Charleston shootings.
Yeah.
But you know, inevitably the conversation goes to race and racism and whatnot. And Obama, in appropriate fashion, I think it's awkward for a black leader to be talking about the N-word. I'll say it as the N-word because I choose not to say the word. But
yeah.
But Obama used the word nigger in his conversation and talking about it. And people are all up in arms and crazy. And again, it's, in my opinion, it's just an overreaction. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, because of the context of the conversation, and there's nothing here. This is it's a non-story. But because we live in this time of social media and sound clips and sound bites, everything gets overblown, and context hardly matters anymore. Reality doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Did you? So if you see the news talking about it, Fox News and all this, then they're going on and on about how he said it's so inappropriate, and they would call it the N-word. So we're at the point where a president can say a word on a broadcast, and the news can't bring themselves to even report the specific word that they're so up in arms about. Can we, at some point, get to the point in our dialogue where there's a difference between saying a word and using a word, perhaps?
There's clearly a difference, but unfortunately, nobody seems to understand that anymore because the lines are so blurred, man, or at least to some people they are.
I think it's brilliant. He said it. I mean, what better way to open the dialogue?
Sure, yeah. You're the leader of the fucking free world. When you're saying something in a good context to try and open a dialogue,
right?
Isn't that the point? Isn't that direct leadership?
Especially if you're black.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so you and I have the same position. We try not to, or generally don't say the word, or use this. We definitely don't use the word.
We definitely don't use the word.
Yeah, we don't aim it at people in a derogatory fashion. We both have similar beliefs, but you know, do you agree with me on the position that I'm okay with black people having their own words? I'm okay with many people having their own language. You want to speak Pig Latin, you want to make up words. You know, I'm not a jealous person. I don't care that black people have gone through some hideous shit and they've determined that they'd like to say this word. So I don't get bothered. You know, I get bothered in public settings or professional settings or intimate settings when people use the word. It rubs me wrong. But if you use the word cunt, I'd feel the same.
Sure.
You know, or certain other swears. You know,
they're abrasive words.
Or the word moist.
Very moist.
Right.
You know, it's nothing new that a population, a culture, a subgroup, whatever, has their own lexicon. It's not anything new.
I'm not a jealous person. I don't need to use the word, and I don't. If black people want to use the word and they want it to be theirs, then, you know, I'm going to try not to judge non-black people that do it. It's going to throw me off a bit, but. You know, I don't really care. I'm not that upset about it. I'm not that insecure.
If it's your way of owning what happened to your people in the past, let's face it, there's not one person living in the United States that is black that has been a slave, nor do they know anybody who was ever a slave. It's generations past. Let's come to that. But if you have such a deep connection with that history that and by the way, nobody who uses the word is using it in that context, which is another argument altogether, because it's become a term of endearment or just a term they use to their buddies or whatever. They're not saying it with reverence to the past. They're saying it because they want to fucking say it. Now, if you want to make the argument, though, that it exists because it's a connection to that past, then I'm completely in for the word. I'm not going to say that word needs to not exist. That's ignorant. That's fucking stupid.
I mean, it also has such deep pain and meaning in that community that they want to own it. You know? They want to own it, and they want to use it in their way, and they want to throw it almost in the face of what it truly means, and in the reverse, in a way. Where it's not derogatory, but it can be a bit offensive.
Absolutely.
Because of that, because of their desire for that, for non-black people to say it. It gives me issues. It gives me pause for a reason, and people should probably think about that. Like,
it's a cultural thing.
There's a reason I'm not comfortable saying it, and some black people are.
Yeah.
There's a reason at the bottom. There's something deep down there that drives me as a person that tries to be decent, even though I'm a jerk, to not say it. It's just, and I choose to listen to that. That it's offensive to people. If I'm white and I say it, and I try to respect that.
Isn't it kind of funny that that's a word that has become ingrained into a culture? It's the N-word culture almost. Now, there's another argument that's being made right now for the last few years that we live in a rape culture. Now, when it's not
stupid.
Wait. I have a point. I do have a point. Yeah, because we don't live in a rape culture. The numbers have been debunked. It's all stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Now, but when you asked activists after the fact, these extremists, these social justice warriors, that after the numbers have already been debunked to their face, they go to the fact that because a kid says the word, "Oh, I just got raped on this math test. Oh, did you see how we lost that game? Yeah, they completely raped us." That institutes a rape culture. That's insane. However, but because a subgroup of people use a word like the N-word, it has become a cultural thing. So it's almost like it's one hand washing the other in a sense. It's kind of weird.
People are just too goddamn needy and self-centered. God. Like, who cares if you shouldn't say the word? If you're white, you and people don't want you to say the word, you fucking move on. Life's
saying
too
the
short.
word rape does not cause a rape culture. Saying the N-word may cause a trend within a community, which is what we have now of a whole subgroup of people using it, but it's not causing damage. Saying the word is not going to, you know what I mean?
And Mark Maron actually made the original point that there needs to be a better understanding of saying a word versus using a word.
Yes.
And it was actually Mark Maron's point, I think, on Opie and Jimmy.
Critical thinking, kids. Critical thinking. Look at the context of how something's used before you react. Make your own opinions. Not that difficult.
All right, so that's the deep part of the conversation.
Oh God, you've been killing me. I'm too stupid for these questions, man.
All right, we'll dumb it up a little bit. I'm going to move us to some quick hitter things and try and get off the deeper topics for a bit.
All right.
So some of these are just I interviewed one people.
Yeah.
To come up with questions for Dave to answer for his entire audience. So I'm just gonna quick hit you and move you along, and if I disagree with your opinion, as usual, I'll let you know.
Let's do it.
Who's your favorite president?
My favorite president is Abraham Lincoln.
Why?
Well, he led the country through one of the most difficult times and the bloodiest war of our history. And he went through political, moral, and constitutional strife, and he came out the other end for the better. He kept the Union together at a time where maybe nobody else could have. And he killed fucking vampires, Jim.
I love it. Love it. Nice callback. All right, very good. If you could pick anyone today, who would you want to be president and why?
Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage, because Peter Dinklage, because of the fact that never in our history has a midget become so loved by the masses for being Wee Man, not Peter Dinklage, Hornswoggle, not Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage is refined, but the only thing is he'd have to be president, but he'd have to be president as Tyrion Lannister.
Very good.
Yes.
I take it.
Yes.
Who do you have in the upcoming election? I noticed you didn't answer last week.
No, I didn't answer last week. It's because my answer is probably going to shock some people. I was with you on the Christie thing if he does indeed decide to run, which I think we all think he will. Hillary is I think she's going to be too bogged down. I do think it's going to end up being someone like Ted Cruz. I don't know why. I can't give you good reasons as to why I think, but I think Ted Cruz has about as good as chances as any.
Can I just take this opportunity to let you know that Sanders is closing on Clinton in New Hampshire?
Whoa, that's bad for her.
But she has the exact same lead she had over Obama.
Really?
In 2008. She's got to be shitting.
She's got to be taking.
Sanders is gaining some momentum. There's actual.
He's insane.
There's political posters that just simply say Bernie fucking Sanders. And I love it.
Anybody who looks that much like Doc Brown should never be president. That dude scares the shit out of me. We don't need rules.
And just on the theme of New Hampshire is fucking bonkers, Donald Trump is polling second.
Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful?
It's scary as fuck.
I think it's wonderful.
So let me ask you this. Is voting like choosing between a shit sub and a shit hoagie or what?
Nowadays, isn't it?
They're all the fucking same, right?
There's not a good option. And besides, most of the power is being, except executive power, which of course Obama has gone to great lengths of using. Most of the power now resides in the battles that we were talking about earlier. When one of these Supreme Court justices die, when the power in the House or the Senate sway one way or the other definitively. And now more than ever, maybe this is a good thing, or in political terms, it's probably a bad thing. We have more people crossing the aisle than I think I can remember in a really long time.
Sure, right.
It's kind of weird. People because there's subsects, especially within the Republican Party, that are just popping up all the time, and it's crazy, creating more dissent. And some Republicans are like, "Fuck it." Fuck it.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think this is going to be one of the more centrist elections. Probably a good turnout, too.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think there's a backlash coming with the Tea Party and some of these fringe groups. I think enough is enough.
Yeah. MTV needs to get on the ball and bring back Rock the Vote, because this is the year. Right. This is it.
Or they should all just come on fucking podcasts.
Exactly. And come on mine anytime.
All right, let me pivot you off of politics for a bit.
Oh, thank God.
Let's entertain your audience. What's your favorite wrestling match of all time?
My favorite wrestling match that I could watch any single day of the week. It's the 1992 Royal Rumble. The 1992 Royal Rumble match. I love it. Yeah, that was the Fink. That was a good Fink too. Yeah. That's probably I could watch it any day of the week. That and basically anything from 1981, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. Nice. I could watch that all day. Also, the first Hell in a Cell. The first Hell in a Cell. Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. I love that match.
So, for fear of doing a spoiler alert, who won the 1992 Royal Rumble?
Woo! The Nature Boy to become the real world's heavyweight champion.
Nice.
It was vacated at the time. It was the first time that the Royal Rumble really mattered. Was 1992.
Sweet. All right, let's book the territory, Dave. What's your dream match you never saw between current wrestlers from any promotion?
Right now, there's really only one that has not been done in the indies that needs to be done on a big stage before one of them gets too old, and that is AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins.
That's my exact pick.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's scary.
Are you serious? Shit. You're fucking with me.
Exact choice.
That was 100%. Not set up.
100%. That's my exact answer if I had to answer that question.
Are you kidding me?
100%.
You got to see that match. That has to happen. Has to happen.
It might happen. He seems pretty happy where he is, right?
Yeah, AJ loves working in New Japan and he Ring of Honor and all this stuff because he has flexibility. He's making a fuck ton of money, so he's content. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I'd like it to.
All right, so along the same lines, dream match combining any past and or present wrestlers.
I've got a few, and this is going to shatter the illusion that I had no prep because I have a few. Shawn Michaels and Luke Harper, because I think Shawn Michaels is the greatest big man wrestler of all time, like wrestling big men. I mean, I don't think anyone ever did it better than Shawn Michaels. I'd love to see that match. Kevin Owens and Dusty Rhodes, take my money right fucking now. in the ring and on the mic, I don't think it would get any better. Ric Flair and Dolph Ziggler.
Okay.
Kurt Hennig, Bruno Sammartino. I think that could be the greatest match in the history of wrestling if it were to happen, if it was able to. My God, I couldn't even get into the reasons why. It's just amazing how good that match could be. Adrian Neville and young pre-knee injury Rey Mysterio.
Jesus Christ, Adrian Neville's in a dream match for you? He's
Yes,
so boring. With
Adrian
big ears.
Neville is the greatest high flyer I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a guy fly through the air with as much control, consistency, and ability as Adrian Neville. He is unbelievable.
Bit of a spot monkey, isn't he?
No, see, that's the thing. I don't think he is one. I don't think he's a spot monkey at all. I love Adrian Neville. I love what he does.
All right.
Finn Balor and Ricky Steamboat. And
Okay.
finally, my last one, Jake Roberts and Dean Ambrose. Do I have to give any reasons as to why?
No, that's good. I also like the idea of Piper Ambrose. And
Piper Ambrose would be good too, yeah.
It would just be weird.
I avoided using Austin or The Rock in any of those. I'm pretty proud of that.
No Austin Hogan?
No, don't need to see it.
You don't want to see the program, though? The build-up?
Nope, don't need to see it.
No, I don't mean now. I mean if they were both in prime.
Nope, wouldn't interest me. That one's not for me. I don't think Hogan, even at his absolute best, maybe if Austin was infiltrating the NWO, like you replace McMahon with the NWO and Austin was creating havoc within the NWO, that would be interesting. But Hogan on his own, like red and yellow Hogan versus Austin at his prime, I don't think I can get into that. I just don't see the upside of it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Will wrestling ever reach the heights it did in the Attitude Era?
Not until the population demands it again. The Attitude Era was a very special time because the people wanted it. The people were going in that direction. Now everyone's so goddamn uptight you can't do anything. Yeah, okay. If you do something too pushy, and that's the end of your organization. So I think it can. The talent is building there. The talent is getting to the point where absolutely it could, but everyone's so goddamn touchy, probably not.
It seems like there has to be a business driver for them to start pushing the boundaries again.
And which we might be on the verge of. This week alone, with all of the GFW, TNA, Ring of Honor stuff, and not only that, something very significant happened on NXT this week. They showed a lot of footage from New Japan Pro Wrestling. WWE does not do that. They don't do that. There could be a loose affiliation happening with New Japan. Now, if that happens, that's big business. That's huge.
But doesn't New Japan already have that tie-in with Global Force? And
that's the rub. Yeah, that's the rub. That's the worry, because they showed specific things to the Bullet Club of all things, which exists outside of New Japan. It exists within Global Force Wrestling, and it's crazy that this is happening, and it makes me wonder if something I read at the beginning of the network, the idea that somebody has for the network was the WWE network should become a haven for all wrestling organizations. And the idea is you pay for the $10 a month for the WWE service, and then the WWE charges whatever organization to come on, and then it's a $2 add-on for any of those services. That's what it needs. It needs to be the Netflix of wrestling. It needs to be the Hulu of wrestling, and I think it will be eventually. So
should Global Force and TNA merge?
I don't think it matters. They can. I don't think it matters. It's so. I hate using the word irrelevant.
Global Force isn't even really a thing.
No, they're a touring circus right now. They're a touring traveling company. They're playing in baseball stadiums.
I saw that Joe Cronin video actually. Yeah. I came across it where he was calling over the match,
which he did a really good job with.
Yeah, he did actually. It was interesting, but it was kind of sad. I'm like,
it was a little sad.
Yeah, but
it's interesting because Jeff Jarrett is basically building Global Force Wrestling the exact same way he built TNA. The original TNA that most people forget, when it first happened, it was founded by people like Piper. All these old aging stars of the previous era were the ones that really started TNA off. Global Force Wrestling is kind of doing the exact same way, and they don't have the names. They don't have a Piper. The biggest name they have is Jeff Jarrett. They have Scott Steiner, but who gives a fuck about Scott Steiner? He's insane.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, so let's do an F Mary Kill.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks, Lita, and Lana.
Oh, this is the easiest question I could have been asked. I'm marrying Lana. I'm fucking Sasha Banks because, man, I guarantee she could do something. And unfortunately, I have to kill the beautiful Lita. She's the oldest of the three.
Sasha Banks is Boston, baby.
Yes, she is, man. She looks like she could fuck something fierce, doesn't she?
Poor Lita.
Rip your dick off.
I was looking for somebody younger, but I had trouble thinking of it. I was probably half buzzed when I wrote the question.
You know what, though? It doesn't matter who the third person was. They were getting murdered because I'm marrying Lana. That is my wife, and Sasha's my fuck buddy.
You just can't resist the foreign dialect. Huh?
No, the Lana vagina vortex has had quite an impact on me. And I whenever I need to just disappear for a couple hours from reality, I just go find her nudes and get lost.
Just nudes?
Oh my God, are you serious?
WWE hired somebody with nudes?
It will change your world. You have not lived, sir.
How did that out? Are you sure they're not fake?
No, they're not fake. Very well publicized.
WWE hire people these days that have been nude?
Well, as far as nudes go, they're rather tasteful. Even Marie's been nude, so I mean, it's not that far out of the box. It does happen. Lana is one of these people who they're going to build her so goddamn big because there's something about her that just brings you in, man. I don't know what it is. She's that gorgeous. She's hot. She's gorgeous, but there's something else there that just captivates people. So I don't think
how do they abandon this Ukrainian, Bulgarian, Russian accent bunhead thing and move on with her? I mean, isn't she kind of stuck without Rusev if she's going to keep trying to play this role?
See, the interesting thing is if you watch SmackDown this week,
I don't watch that stuff.
They've already started the march towards the liberation of Lana. Her hair has been brought down out of the bun. Dolph Ziggler did it during the match. And over time, they can assimilate her more to American culture, or they could do an angle where she just said, I did this to survive within Moscow. I'm American born. And she can even go by her real name, which is like AJ, but no, not AJ. It's CJ. What is her name? I can't remember, but she is American born. It's not like she's actually Russian. That can always come out when they need it to, and they do it in steps. And it started with the bun, so because now she brought it down into a long ponytail, and furniture got moved.
Wow, you're watching closely.
Oh, anything Lana does, I watch closely. Anything
it's close to stalking.
You know what? If I could physically be there, it would be stalking, but it's legal because I'm watching through a television. That's legal. It doesn't matter how. They don't know that I have my hands on the television, like with my face on it. They don't have to know that.
All right. Do you secretly hate what wrestling fans have become, Dave?
Oh, not secretly. I openly loathe all of you sons of bitches who have bastardized my fucking sport. Yeah, yes, I absolutely hate what wrestling fans have become. And I'm included in that. I hate myself for what I've become. Because, look, you could say a lot, whatever you want about me as far as I'm fair at the end of the day. I'm unbelievably fair. I bury who needs to be buried, in my opinion. It's all my opinions, too, and I understand that. You can't be wrong about an opinion, motherfuckers. And all these wrestling fans who go crazy and bastardize and chastise and ostracize you motherfuckers for having opinions. Yeah, I'm using motherfucker way too much because you asked me this question. Wrestling fans are assholes.
Yeah, I just can imagine going to Broadway and hearing, "This is awesome."
This is awesome.
I love fans that completely hijack shows, like the Cena sucks thing. It's like, Les Mis sucks. Half the crowd. It's like there's never been such a hijacking of entertainment. It's
the sun will come out. What?
All right, man. Of any song, what would your entrance music be, Davey?
I have a couple because I couldn't come to just one. Leviathan by Yngwie Malmsteen. That's a badass instrumental song that would just kick ass coming out. Chop Suey by System of a Down.
Oh, I like that one.
And Youth Gone Wild by Skid Row.
Okay, very good.
Boom.
Favorite TV show ever? Name one.
Only one. Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Game of Thrones. I've never been more entertained by a show than I am by Game of Thrones.
I can't argue there. Favorite summer TV show this year, either on now or coming out?
I got one that's on now and one coming out. The one that's on now is Penny Dreadful. I've absolutely loved that show, and this season's been really good. And the one that's coming out later in the summer, towards the end of the summer, almost fall, Fear the Walking Dead.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I recommend Mr. Robot on USA.
Have you watched it? Have you watched it?
Fucking love it.
Is it good?
I loved it.
It looks so contrived. It looks like
I saw the they released it early, like weeks early, and I was disappointed that I saw it because I wanted more. So I'm still waiting for episode 2 after weeks. But it's really, really good. It's like a cross between Fight Club without the fighting and some other stuff. It's really good. I love a lot of the summer shows.
Crosses over into the whole conspiracy stuff and all that things too, right? It's totally hitting the subculture.
I really, really liked it. I recommend it.
I'll check that out.
Give it a chance.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
All right, most anticipated movies this year.
Do we need to have this conversation?
Just give me something besides Star Wars.
I can't give you anything but Star Wars. That's the only thing that matters to me. It's the only thing on my horizon. It's the only thing that matters. It's the only thing I care about. It's my hopes, my dreams, my ambitions, my love.
It's my show, Jerkin the Nerd.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cut you off on your Star Wars and move on. If you could live anywhere, where and why, Dave?
This is going to sound really corny and really stupid. Maybe not stupid, but corny. Right where I am. Rudesheim, Germany. I've lived a lot of places. I've seen a lot of places. I've traveled a lot in my time in the Army. I've never lived in a place so beautiful, so peaceful, so easy, accessible, and perfect to my needs. I can't picture a better place for me to live. That being said, since I have to answer the question, not just say where I am, probably Belize. I want to live on the beach in a little hut and capture food from the ocean.
What is it? Capture food from the ocean. I can picture you with a fucking spear and a net.
That's what I want to do. I want to set up a net and bring in whatever crustaceans I can and then like go fishing every day.
What is it with Germans wanting to be in South and Central America?
It's because it's so different. And you can get lost there relatively easy.
All right, very good. Top 5 rock bands of all time, real quick.
Whew, okay. Queen, Dream Theater, Def Leppard, go fuck yourself.
Oh!
I threw that in there just for you.
I taught you better than
just for you. I put it in there just for you. It might not even really be true, but I put it in there just for you. Oh, God. And the other two. You know, the older I've gotten, the more I've appreciated them, so I'm going to do something that's going to make you smile. I'm putting the Beatles. Beatles. They've really become a pleasure of mine as of late. Them and Jerry Seinfeld for some reason. I can't explain that one.
He's not a band.
No, he's not a band, but I mean, I just appreciate him the older I get. Him, the Beatles, and coffee. I don't know why.
Ooh, I love coffee.
Probably the 5th, Symphony X, man. I love Symphony X. I absolutely love it. I forgot some bands that I absolutely love, too, but...
All right, I'm going to let that one go. Top frontman of all time.
Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury is the greatest frontman to ever live.
All right, moving on. When no one is around, do you secretly like Nickelback songs?
I have to admit that Never Again song, when I'm by myself and if I hear it, Never Again... I do like that song. It pains me to my soul to admit that because I want to kill myself when all those other ones come on. But yeah, that Never Again. It's time to fight the same old shit, but on a different night. I don't know why that song gets me, but yeah, there's one Nickelback song that I can't resist.
All right. Besides Nickelback, give me some more musical guilty pleasures. Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls. What do you got?
I am so unabashed in my love of the Spice Girls. I don't give a fuck. Not only do I love Spice Girls, I love the goddamn movie. Spice Girls, the Spice World is fantastic. It's a great and well done film. Yes, I said it. It's entertaining and it's so go watch it sometime. It's fucking brilliant, man. It's so deep. There's so many levels to that movie. It's fucking amazing. I love it.
All right, so recapping so far.
New Kids on the Block is another guilty
Dave's not
pleasure.
a pedophile. He likes Spice Girls, Nickelback, and Def Leppard.
That's right. New Kids on the Block is another guilty pleasure.
New Kids. All right. My wife and I were talking last night trying to understand the remaining interest in New Kids on the Block. I mean, we get it in our neck of the woods because because of Wahlberg, and
Yeah.
Wahlbergs are quite popular. But
Yes, they are.
the New Kids on the Block, really?
Yeah. I also like as far as new age stuff too. Like I like a couple of these girl singers that are, I can't really help it like that. Megan Trainor.
Are you a Swiftie?
No, my daughter is though, and it drives me fucking nuts.
I don't mind Taylor Swift.
Oh, I can't stand
I'm not
that.
gonna lie.
I liked her when she sang country, but I hate her pop stuff. I think it's terrible. It's really bad music. She's better than that. I've heard her write and create good music. I've heard her do it. Now she's just like, I'm going crazy. Shake it off, motherfuckers.
All right. Besides Spice Girls movie,
Yeah.
what's the best movie of all time?
This is not like you can go by off of movies. It's Godfather 2 is so technically perfect and everything.
It's the best movie ever.
I have one criteria for greatest movie of all time, and it's most entertaining movie of all time. Because for me, it's one and the same, and that of course is Star Wars, greatest movie ever made. Star Wars is the greatest movie ever made.
I am disappointed.
Boom. You know what? If you throw, I will give you another one though. Casablanca is probably one of my favorite all-time movies.
You're so sophisticated.
Yeah, I do. I love that. I love the Maltese Falcon. There's a lot of other. I was really into the Golden Age of Hollywood for a long time, so I was really, really like almost hip. If I would have been into it now, I'd be called a hipster because I was that deep into it. But I do love the Golden Age of Hollywood. But Star Wars, yeah.
Most underrated movie of all time.
God, Tremors. Tremors is the most underrated movie of all time.
I like that movie.
I love Tremors.
Everything's better with bacon.
Absolutely. My God.
All right, worst popular movie of all time. By the way, my most underrated movie of all time is Office Space still.
Really? Underrated? Really? Office Space.
I still think it's a cult classic, but it's still underrated. Just like Clerks.
It's gone past. Clerks is not even underrated anymore either. They both come into the mainstream.
They kind of are.
A little bit maybe, but Office Space gets slurped quite often.
But it's still culty with very specific people. I wouldn't say it's a mainstream hit or anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, worst movie of all time. Worst popular movie.
The worst popular movie of all time. I wish the question would have been most overrated of all time because I can actually have a good answer to that.
All right, answer that first then.
Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I love Pulp Fiction. Great. I love Pulp Fiction. I do. I love it. It's a great film, but I think it might be the most overrated film I've ever seen. It winds up top 5, top 10 of all these movie lists. That's insane. That's insane to me. It's a great film. Fantastic. One of my favorite movies of all time, but it is highly overrated. Worst popular film of all time?
Yeah, so worst commercially successful movie of all time.
That's actually pretty easy now that I think about it. It's Armageddon. Armageddon is fucking horrible.
That's a good one.
It's god awful. Line for line, that movie might be the worst movie ever made. It's so bad.
All right, quick hit questions here, everybody. We're going to keep moving.
Let's do it.
This is important. Inquiring minds need to know, is Maggie Gyllenhaal hot?
No.
Okay, then. Who is hotter, Jake or Maggie?
Jake.
Who is hotter, Sarah Jessica Parker or Donald Sutherland?
Donald Sutherland, easily.
F. Marry Kill, Sarah Jessica Parker, Hilary Swank, and Kirsten Dunst.
Ooh, I'd kill Kirsten Dunst. Fuck Hilary Swank because those boobs.
Mango's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, I know, and I'm marrying Sarah Jessica Parker because I know nobody's gonna fuck with her. She's got a lot of stroke in the business.
All right, is Mena Suvari an alien?
No, but I'd let her probe me anytime.
She's weird looking. Her eyes are disproportionate and a huge forehead. It's weird.
She's not an alien, but I would love to explore her otherworldly worlds. I don't know.
You're a horny bastard.
I am. I haven't had sex in years. What do you want? I'm married, no sex. What do you want?
Dave, have aliens reached Earth besides Mena Suvari?
Certainly Arizona, but that's a different topic. Probably. Okay.
Was 9/11 an inside job?
No.
Good answer. What well-known conspiracy theory do you believe the most, then?
Roswell.
Yeah,
Roswell.
All right. Dave, do you wish you were famous?
Yes. I wish I was rich.
Very on it.
I
Well,
wish I was rich.
But do you wish you were famous? Because I have no desire to be famous, but I have an extreme desire to be rich.
I'll take the fame if it's a subproduct of being rich, but I definitely do not want to be a celebrity.
You don't want to be a celebrity.
No.
So if your shows blew up,
I would take it. I would take it and do my
Okay.
best with it, but I'm not looking to become a celebrity.
so if you could have any career, what would it be?
I never thought I would say this, but if it wasn't going back to the Army because I was completely healthy, I would do that for the rest of my life. I really did enjoy the job, but the other one would be stand-up comedian.
Oh, interesting.
It was my dream. I got booed off the stage when I was 12, and I never tried again.
Interesting. Did you record that?
No, I didn't. I froze, and I started telling racist Steve Harvey jokes, and it was really bad. I started doing Steve Harvey, his O.J. Simpson set, because it was the only thing I could remember. I had a 7-minute set that I had perfected. I got up on stage, froze, forgot it, and went to Steve Harvey, 12-year-old white boy. Couldn't believe it. Boys and Girls Club, Las Vegas, Nevada. Holy fuck. Yeah.
All right, I think we know the answer to the next question, but Dave, can money buy happiness?
It could rent it. It can
Interesting.
rent it. It can't buy it, but it can certainly rent it for a little while. You can fake yourself into believing that you're happy if you have enough money for a limited amount of time. But no, I don't think ultimately it does.
My hippie wife debates this with me all the time. I absolutely believe you can buy happiness
You
in
can
this
rent
world.
it. You can rent it. You can.
So many things that I would love and want cost money.
Absolutely. No, there's no question about that. All the things that will make you happy, you can definitely buy. But, that doesn't buy you peace of mind. So if you don't have peace of mind, do you have happy?
I have peace of mind when I'm happy with my toys.
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think you can definitely rent it up to the point of where it certainly masks it, and it seems like it's. I guess I'd have to go to yeah.
All right. I agree. So if money was no object, but everything else about you was the same as today, what would you be doing different?
Ooh, if money was no object. Okay, if money was no object, what would I be doing? I would have a giant studio on the East Coast, and everybody that I work with as far as podcasting, we'd all be under one thing. I would have a network. I'd have a podcasting network. I don't think I've ever been as happy as I am when I'm recording. So if money was no object and everything else had to stay the same, I couldn't fix myself physically. I had to stay exactly how I am.
Right.
Yeah, I would do this professionally, and
Cool.
I would make it right and do it the right way. Studio, the whole shebang-a-bang.
I like that. I sometimes think I would do something similar.
I love it, man. I never thought I could be as happy as I was before I was hurt. And podcasting brings that to me on a weekly basis, daily basis.
Well, I'm glad for that.
Yeah.
Would you rather play poker or video games?
A few years ago it would have been poker, but I'm retired from the table, and it's
that's too
video
bad.
games. Yeah, I can't play
I
poker
love
anymore.
poker.
I love poker too. Oh, I love it with a passion. But you throw a video game in front of me, especially with Fallout 4 coming out in November. Boom!
Shit. Plug
Plug
You
for
don't even
Fallout.
get paid.
Nope, don't need to. Fallout pays me.
So I'm a big poker fan. Will online poker ever be legal in the U.S. again?
It just got a huge hit just happened, and it might be going away in the little bit of pockets that it is now. No, it'll never be legal in the States again. There's this huge thing going on. Las Vegas is so against it, and they're going to continue to fight it, and they're going to continue to buy politicians to the point where, no, it will never be legal again, unfortunately. Hell, it's getting affected over here in Europe again.
How do they get the nerve to sponsor state lottery and then not allow poker?
Because hypocrisy and politics go hand in hand.
I mean, it's such extreme, blatant
Isn't it?
nerve.
Well, the funny thing is, what's the biggest thing going right now in the world of sports? It's fantasy. And fantasy
Right.
started as a free thing, but now what do they have? They have online gambling in the form of DraftKings. DraftKings is online gambling.
Right.
It is. It is online gambling.
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to last very long. I think it'll eventually get hit. But if it doesn't, That's poker's in. If they want to in, it's DraftKings. Because if they're online gambling, why can't everything else? Now, fantasy fucking sports is more of a crapshoot, more of a game of skill than poker is, which has been the whole holdup in the political spectrum, is that it's a game of chance, which I don't believe poker is. I believe that there is definitely a lot of skill.
Can somebody
poker.
explain the skill in scratching a card?
Yeah, none.
Please.
None.
It's such crap.
Look
It's
how many times
crap.
how many times in your fantasy leagues has your team got tanked because all of a sudden Adrian Peterson can't run no more? Clayton Kershaw forgot how to pitch for a month. You know,
Very, very rarely. I draft deep.
I forgot you are the.
And if I don't draft deep, I trade deep.
Yeah, or no, you trade rape. More like.
Hey, if there's two willing parties, it's just a struggle snuggle.
I can't believe I traded you Jamal Charles for
I
Trent
prefer
Richardson.
to call it trade struggle snuggle.
It was the worst. I can't believe I did that. I would have won that league that year had I not made that trade.
Moving on, will you ever move back to the U.S.? Is that ever discussed?
I very much want to. I very much want to, because for me, as far as the VA and everything that will give me more access to health benefits, it makes the most sense for me to go back. But I'm basically at the whim of my wife and daughter on that. They're very happy, and I don't want to interrupt my daughter's progression. She's going into 5th grade next year, and I don't really want to derail that. My wife's happiness, who is more important to me than almost anything else, because she is my partner on this earth. She drives me nuts, and she doesn't give me any sex. But you know what? She struggled very hard to become a chef with absolutely no training, so I'm going to continue to do what I can to support her.
Good man. All right, good. Dave, will you now finally admit Jim the Jerk was right? Zimmerman is an asshole that should be in jail, if not just for being an asshole. Was I right?
We never disagreed that he was an asshole. I've always agreed he's an asshole.
He should have been in jail, right? Just for generally being such a fucking dick.
He should have been locked up, but maybe not by a regular jail. If somebody wanted to just abduct Zimmerman and take him out of the general population, I'd be okay with that.
Isn't that what Guantanamo's for? They can't sort that out?
Black site Zimmerman. Let's do that. I'd be okay with that. Somebody tried to pop him not long ago. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's bound to happen.
I can't believe it hasn't happened more frequently.
Surprised he doesn't walk around with like a bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
So, Dave, with all the cop incidents, do you still 100% support them, or is it time for most or many of them to chill the fuck out?
I still support the police, and because I was part of a military and organization, I understand how difficult that job is and how much pressure. Look, there are bad people. There are bad flight attendants. They're bad everywhere. I do feel that because of the escalation in the media and the overreaction to certain things, it makes the job harder. So it's a vicious cycle. Something's going to have to change, and it's going to be sweeping, and it might even lead to one of the most horrific ideas I think I've ever heard, and that is a federal police force, a national police force. But we might be on that road, and there might not be no derailing it.
So there wouldn't be anything different, though. I mean, a national police force won't act different than...
It'll be more inept. It'll be more inept. It'll be worse. It would be more terribly run than it is at a local level. There's no way. It's unattainable. It's unsustainable. You can't train at that level. It's barely done in the Army. And you want to do it. You want to go into little towns and all over the country and say this is no. It would just never work. It would be probably the downfall of our country. It would be the thing that would lead to civil unrest unlike we've ever seen before.
Absolutely. All right. Is there anything significant about you that you haven't told your listening audience?
Significant about me. I have never, up until 2 years ago, I spoke with a therapist 3 times a week from things that happened when I was in Iraq.
Okay.
I was never diagnosed with PTSD, but I had issues. I still wake up with nightmares sometimes from things that's happened. I'm probably more affected by things than I let on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the big one. I was under therapy for a which is probably not a big surprise if you listen to me because I'm absolutely insane. But yeah, I've
So are you coming to terms with things better? Are you improved in a way from that?
yes, yeah.
That's good.
I was broken when I came back, man. The first time, my mind was so messed up. And I went to the thing that I always know, which is food. I spent 30 days in bed and gained 60 pounds. Went back to work, tried to lose it, got hurt even more than I already was,
Right.
and it was a vicious cycle. But yeah, I think I've come to terms with a lot of things that I saw, a lot of things I was witness to,
Yep.
and a lot of realities that I had to face when I was there. So yeah,
All
therapy
right.
was
So
huge.
let's bring the party back up.
Yeah,
But congratulations on feeling at least a bit better.
I'm
That's
glad that
important.
you're happy about my happiness.
Well, I am. It's important to me. I've told you that before.
Yeah, it makes me happy that you're happy that I'm happy. So it's a good
I
thing.
care about how you feel, even though I don't always act like it on your show.
As do I for you, my friend. I care about you and your brain.
What's your favorite food, bro?
You know what? This is gonna surprise people. Clams, man. Oysters. I fucking love them, dude. I
At
love
least you didn't say poontang
Poontang pie. No, I love clams. I go to this Chinese food restaurant, this buffet, and I just
Oh, that's an adventure. Holy crap. You eat clams at a Chinese food buffet?
it's
Are you out of your fucking
no,
mind?
It's made to order, dude. It's made to order. You go this place. It's amazing. They have the regular buffet, and then they have this area where it's just fresh meats and like they have shark there, kangaroo, all kinds of crazy shit, right? And then there's just this huge bucket of oysters and mussels and clams and shit. And you take what you want, you take it to the grill, and they fucking make it for you right there. It's made to order. It's wonderful, and I eat like 60 of them. They're great.
I like sushi. Does your
me
wife
too.
listen to your shows?
Don't drink water. No, she does not. No.
Water's bad for you, man.
Oh my god, I just choked really
She
bad.
doesn't listen. She doesn't even listen to Nerd and the Jerk.
She listens to nothing anymore. Oh god. You would think that she would, but no, she doesn't. She participates, but she doesn't listen very often.
Interesting.
I'm gonna die. Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, all right, man.
I'm good.
Interesting dichotomy there. My wife listens to every show I'm on.
Really? Oh yeah, she's always been like that though. Yeah.
Yep. She really likes them. I think she likes me more when I'm on shows than any other time.
It's
'Cause
all the gym, but he's not here
Well-
sweating on me.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm pretty extreme introvert most of the time.
Yeah.
But if you listen to me on shows, something changes. Although I do drink to get my nerve up a bit, and sometimes that goes a little too far.
Yeah, it's called chemistry. You change your body chemistry by inserting alcohol into
Yeah,
it.
so I'm an extreme introvert. Like I have a lot of trouble in crowds, even ones I know.
I would not have guessed that of you.
Oh yeah, I am. I wasn't always that way. I was a bit of a social animal, probably through most of college. But
What
something
changed?
I don't even really know. Maybe a topic for another day for us to explore. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. But yeah, so I'm not that way on these shows, and I think she's interested in that. Like even though I'm quiet, I do crack a lot of jokes, so it's not a surprise to her to hear me being jerky or to
Sure.
cracking jokes. But my general blabberness is probably quite a change of pace for her.
She's like,
Excuse
I
me.
learned things about him I didn't know. He talks now. It's amazing.
Yeah. What do you feel most proud of?
Oh, my military service and my daughter, of course. But I mean, like, I didn't want to
course.
be too corny. But my military
Yeah.
service, I'm unbelievably proud of it. And this podcast.
Very good. If you could only keep 5 material possessions, what would they be? Just to name a few. You don't have to do exactly 5, but no more than 5.
My microphone, and I assume that like comes with the computer, the ability to podcast. I guess I would say.
Fair enough.
So whatever I would need in that situation.
You're pushing the rules, but I'll allow it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I've had this Batman sign since I was 2 years old. This wooden handmade Batman sign that my mother's crazy drunken biker boyfriend made me when I was like 2. And it's wonderful. It looks so amazing. It's handcrafted. It's wood. I've had it my entire life. I have to take that wherever I go.
Can you take a picture of it for me?
I will. I'll take a picture right after this, as a matter of fact.
Right,
I'll
cool.
tweet it. I'll tweet it out. So look for it at Dead on Dave V on Twitter. I'll tweet it out.
There you go.
I've had it since I was 2 years old. 29 years I've had that thing.
Cool.
I'm not super needy. My computer, that's already part of the same thing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Are you gonna take your book?
I would take my book. No, you know what? I wouldn't take my book because that doesn't need to be with me anymore. No, my
That's
book
in your head.
Yeah, it'd be a forgotten relic, no question.
Family photo, perhaps.
You know, my cell phone.
It's like, nah.
No, but my cell phone has all of those things in it. So
There you go.
my cell phone, which has become like a crutch, very important part of my being. My military records, all my records, my personal records.
Speaking of crutch, would you take your cane?
Oh, that counts as a material possession?
It's a
Yes,
material
yes.
possession.
My cane. Okay, my cane, my stimulator. I need my spinal
There
cord
you go.
stimulator. That's very
All
important.
right. You're breaking all the rules, but that's what.
That's a hard fucking question.
All right, let's get macabre. What song would be playing through your mind at the time of your death?
Oh,
You want me to help you out? Or you want me to tell you mine?
yes, please.
Mine is most definitely "Help" by the Beatles.
Really?
Get it?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, does it matter how you die? Because I figured different. Maybe that
No,
song.
what's the last song you want to hear? You can have for whatever reason you have. What's
Just
the last?
because for just out of appropriateness. How about "This Is the End"?
There you go. What song or song title best sums you up?
My Way. My Way.
Frank
Sinatra. Yeah, My Way.
Nice choice.
Yeah.
What are you most afraid of?
I am terrified of death. I mean, death in prison.
I'm learning that about you.
I am terrified of death. Not the fact of, not even what happens after, just the not being here anymore. Terrifies me. And thank you, stroke, for that. Because I wasn't that terrified of death before I had that stroke.
See, I have my issues, and I'm not that terrified of it.
I'm not ready for the ride to be over.
Prison's a good choice, though.
Yeah, prison's right there.
Significantly afraid of going to prison. That's why
that's why I don't do anything wrong. Yeah, exactly. I'm deterred. It works for me. The system works for me because I am deathly afraid of prison. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready for the ride to be over. So yeah, death scares the shit out of me. But prison's right there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If you could witness any event in history, what event?
Oh God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. This is so bad. Of all the things I could pick the Declaration of Independence. I could pick Jesus on the cross. I could pick the fish coming out of the ocean or whatever the hell. I could pick all of that. But God damn it, I want to be at that fucking Bears Super Bowl victory in '85, man. I got to be there.
Against the Patriots?
Yes. That epic whooping. The 85.
That seems like it would have been a boring game.
Nah, you know what? I want to be a part of that party. I wasn't going to say the last time the Cubs won the World Series, but that's...
Yeah, baseball was probably shitty back then, all black and white.
Yeah, yeah. In reality, in real life, it was black and white because colors didn't exist yet. Yeah. Fucked up.
Fair enough. Best compliment you ever received, sir?
The greatest compliment I have ever had in my life came from somebody right here in this community. I wish I can remember his name. He wrote me on a video about 3 months ago, and he told me that every single day on his way to work and his way home, I keep him from wrecking his car. Basically, nice. I keep him sane in his car, and the fact that somebody cherishes the things that I put out there that much and puts me in that high regard, I don't think I could have a higher compliment.
Very nice. So if you wrote that comment, reach out to Dave.
Yes, because I love you.
Call into his live show. Suck his balls.
Sunday, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dead on Dave Live. Be there.
Give him a Hummer. Hummer. Invite 4 famous people to a poker game and do it now.
Okay, Phil Locke, the Unabomber, one of my favorite all-time poker players. He's fantastic.
Okay.
I want to play poker with the best, so they'd probably be all, poker players. Albert Einstein, I would, just because I heard he tells some great stories. Kevin Smith, storytelling reasons also. And you know what? Phil fucking Ivey. Because I want to win one hand against Phil Ivey. That would be the epic. Not getting the fold pre-flop, none of that shit. No, I want to win a hand to the river, all in, all the money in the pot, and I want to take Phil Ivey down one hand. Could it be better than that?
No, Phil Hellmuth.
We'd kill each other because we're too similar. Because we'd be just calling each other names and probably get into a fist fight. So I have to keep Phil Hellmuth away. He is one of my favorite all-time poker players, though.
See, if I were inviting 4 famous people to a poker game, not one of them would be a poker player.
It's funny. If I was going to look for for not entertainment purposes, you'd be 100% right. But for entertainment purposes, I would want at least one, and in this case, 2 poker players. It'd be a lot of fun. Those guys are nuts. Phil Lock, man, all the prop bets that he'd be proposing, it'd be a blast.
I love prop bets.
I love prop bets.
That's true. I love outlandish, wild prop bets.
All
right, so to wrap up my portion here of Jerking the Nerd, most outlandish, wildest thing you ever did.
Oh, God. I can't believe I'm actually going to tell this story. Okay. The craziest thing I've probably ever done in my life was I can't believe I'm going to tell this story. I actually bought into the dick out rule in golf. Not only did I buy into the dick out rule in golf, I got convinced that it was a course policy, this club policy. And not only did I take my dick out and walk from the man's tee to the female tee, I took my pants off because I got that hoodwinked, that bamboozled, that flim-flammed, that I walked pantless, underwearless, in my shoes and socks to the woman's tee. Because I shanked the ball as I'm a shankopotamus on the golf course. That was the stupidest, wildest, and most outlandish thing I've ever done.
So are you like a level 3 sex offender now? Did you get busted?
You know what? The craziest thing was there was one group that was coming from behind us who was yelling at us for slow play. And I've been yelled at by slow play many times by guys. But this was a foursome of women. Who could have written that any better? And they were screaming, "Slow play, ready to play!" And then I'd silence as they see my naked ass walking from tee to tee, and they just drove right by and skipped the hole, went to the next hole. True fucking story, man. I'm not even making that one up.
Nice work.
Yeah. That was fun,
That's
man.
how you wrap up a Q&A, baby.
Fucking A, right. That was fun, dude. That was...
Well, you're off the hot seat. No more jerking the nerd.
I am sweating balls. You know revenge is coming, and it will be swift.
Revenge of the Nerd?
Revenge of the Nerd. That's 100% right.
I think the title of the show should be Jerking the Nerd.
Jerking the Nerd. I will put that in the title. Jerking the Nerd. Jerking the Nerd. I enjoyed it. That was fun. I hope that was somewhat entertaining.
You don't think it was? I don't think this audience mostly knows you, and in the absence of Tommy C, I felt it was appropriate. It's been a week of change, so let's change it up, and people want to hear you talk, not Jim for the second week in a row. The people are talking, and I'm listening. Dave.
I love the idea. I thought it was perfect. I just have so little confidence that I'm interesting enough for this to be good.
Well, that's why this never happens, because you have that opinion. I'm bucking that trend, and if you listen to this and you thought it was interesting, not that we need to do it again to Dave, but if you thought it was interesting, let Dave know.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have questions that I didn't answer that you'd like to see, or questions that you would like Jim or any other jerk that I have on the show answer, please don't be afraid to put that in the comment section below, or tweet me on my Twitter at @ThatOnDaveV, or right over at the Facebook, This Guy's Take on It. Yes, my Facebook page is still called This Guy's Take on It.
Don't get me started. Man.
That's the URL, not the name, actually. I never changed the URL. I just changed the name to make it Dead on Dave Productions because I'm a lazy bastard.
All right, brother. I gotta get my ass to a 40th birthday party, so I gotta continue drinking. But I gotta do.
Well, I appreciate you joining me for this week, and you're always welcome here. And
well, thank you, buddy.
So I really appreciate. Great job. I think of all self-deprecating out the window, great job, and it was really good. I thought it was a good show.
Well, thanks for taking the hot seat, bud.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for joining us. Like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you join me tomorrow, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Dead on Dave Live. I'll be taking your questions on sports, wrestling, and life. Sports! But other than that, we'll see you next time.
Wait, you're going to take life questions? I have to call for life. I'm going to ask advice. We should do a Nerd and the Jerk advice show with me, you, and Tommy.
Yeah, like our own douchey Bango. Love line.
Like, do some kind of live show and just have people call and ask us questions about their life.
Yes.
We'll help them out.
Lifeline with douchebags.
Exactly. Great. It can't be any worse than the originals.
I agree, right? Jesus, we'll rock that shit.
By the way, I have a pitch in for 90 Day Gay Fiancé. And I feel that Gay Divorce Court is going to be fabulous.
Oh, Gay Divorce Court is going to be great.
All right.
Oh, that's going to be great.
We're out of here.
Other than that, we'll see you next time. Like, subscribe, and share. And remember, if you don't have talent, have talented friends. We'll see you next time. Peace.